And then always pass those out. Okay, well, I can try to find one, so we were so good. Okay, that's.
We had to make the oak trees. And they put in itself, like all the things itself. Sap to put in it.
It's like the highlight.
Isaac was a member of the Grable High School family. His stay here was too short, and many of us may have only gotten to know just a small piece of who he was. If Isaac were here, his message would be to live life to the fullest, have no regrets, and do not judge a book by its cover. His last words to his mother were, "Tell my friends and family I love them." I think these are all messages that we all strive to live by and work towards. We are joining through Skype the Temple Beth El of Eureka, California, who will share in Jewish tradition some special songs by the Templar Choir. The choir and members of Vicky's family will also be reciting the mourner's Kaddish prayer.
We are too.
Good evening. I'm Rabbi Naomi Steinberg at Temple Bethel in Eureka, California. This is where Isaac celebrated his bar mitzvah in 2012. He was called to the Torah scroll. He read and sang in Hebrew, reading from the ancient scroll, reading a very ancient text. And in addition to reading it beautifully, he then gave a teaching on that Torah portion. We extend our deepest condolences to Vicky and Lee, to all members of Isaac's family, and of course to members of the community there in Wyoming also. Part of Isaac's Devar Torah, his Torah teaching, was about King Nimrod, a character in the book of Genesis. And King Nimrod is identified as a mighty hunter. And Isaac especially loved that story because we knew he took such joy in his trips to Wyoming, where he would visit with family and get to go on hunting expeditions. It was such a big part of his identity, even then when he was just 12 years old. This evening for the memorial service, we will be singing two pieces. Our first is from the book of Psalms. It's a very short selection from the 147th Psalm. In our tradition, we have many different names for God, and in this psalm, we call to God as Harofei Yishvu, healer of the brokenhearted. So we hope that calling to God in this way will help all the hearts gathered together this evening begin the healing process. Hallelujah. Healer of the brokenhearted, we call on you tonight to shower down compassion, love, blessings, and tenderness, and great comfort upon this entire assembly, so that everyone who knew Isaac, everyone who knows someone who knows him, everyone who is grieving can find comfort and move forward in life and hold fast to happy memories of relationship with that lovely, lovely young man. In Isaac's bar mitzvah portion, there were some very special words. In the story, a sorcerer is hired to curse the Israelites, but the sorcerer says, I can't guarantee that I will make a curse because God controls what comes out of my mouth. And they take the sorcerer up to a high hill, and he looks down on the camps of the Israelites in their tents. And instead of making a curse, a beautiful blessing comes out of his mouth. How goodly are your tents and your dwelling places, Israel. So I think in Isaac's memory, let's all take this on as a practice that whenever we are tempted to find something negative coming out of our mouths, may we transform that, turn around our behaviors of speech, and speak only words of blessing and positivity and love. We'll sing Matobu. In our tradition, at the time of the loss, we say a special prayer called the Mourner's Kaddish. Are the relatives prepared to call in now to say Kaddish with us? And in fact, they say nothing about death at all. It's all words of praise of the divine in honor of the departed. And in the folk belief of our tradition, we say that the Kaddish helps give the departed a set of wings to ascend on the soul journey, to go on to the next level. So we're saying this Kaddish for Isaac. Excuse me, Vicky, I forgot your Hebrew name. I had made a note of it, but I forgot it. Are you near the phone?
Rivka.
Rivka? Yes. Saying this Kaddish for Isaac, then Rivka Vali, for Isaac, son of Rivka and Leah. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shmirava, Yalmad, Divrat, Divute, Yamit, Matute, V'chayefon, Yomekon, V'chaye, T'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalam, Yizman, Harim, V'yuru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba, V'rak, Elam, V'ayeh, Amen. Yitbarak, Yishtabak, Yitpar, Yitpanam, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitalem, Yitalal, Shmei, Kusha, Riku, Ve'elam, Yikol, Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbekata, V'netamata, Da'amiram, V'alma, V'yuru, Amen. Yehei Shema, Rabba, V'yishmaya, V'chayim, Aleinu, V'al Yisrael, Yuru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, V'mrama, Uyaseh Shalom, Aleinu, V'al Yisrael, Yuru, Amen. In a source of peace, send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. Vicky and Lee, send you our deepest condolences, and we look forward to seeing you when you come here to visit with us. This concludes our part of the program.
Thank you.
I'd like who wants to share a story. This is a story that Lee's father has, or Lee has, regarding his son. Lee is Isaac's father, and Cody is going to share the story tonight.
Isaac and Lee were duck hunting with friends at Ocean Ranch in California. They were seated in the blind with a line being on the left, Isaac next to him. After hunting had slowed down, a single dick knocked flew into the decoys on Lee's side of the line. And Lee got ready. Isaac said, "Can I have this one?" Lee considered it and thought this would be a special bonding moment, so he said, "Go ahead." Isaac rose and made a nice shot, dropping the bird right in front of the blind. Lee tried for a moment to tell Isaac what a special moment this was for him as a dad, and was explaining how this marked a moment between childhood and adulthood, and how glad Lee was that he had Isaac take the shot. Lee was getting a little emotional and a little choked up. Isaac responded by saying, "Oh, you would have missed it anyway." Yeah. So, this I think is a good memory or to make a story out of. So, a lot of our memories weren't very appropriate, but I had to find one that was appropriate to spit. We've done so much over the years. This became closer and closer friends as the years go by. From him and me taking me duck hunting for the first time to us going on hunting trips out of state. We come He was a very kind-hearted guy that would drop anything to help someone.
Vicky is going to come up and read the eulogy.
Correction. Vicky is going to try to read the eulogy, and Ty is going to help if I can't make it. First of all, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming, and everybody that's expressed their condolences and commented on Facebook. It really has helped us a lot. It means a lot to see that everybody has such awesome memories of our son, because that's all we have now. I do, without getting into gory details, want you to know that Isaac passed because he was not wearing a seatbelt. Francisco was in the accident with him, and he's just a little banged up, and he was wearing his seatbelt. So wherever you go, even if it's only a short distance, even if it's from here to Blair's, please wear your seatbelt, because no parent should have to experience this nightmare. Maybe 3 glimpses. Isaac came to us a true miracle. Raise your hand if you can. After years of infertility, and we loved him like the miracle he was. He was our everything. Isaac talked very early and used those advanced verbal skills to express all of the questions he had to satisfy his curiosity about everything in the universe. One of his favorite questions was, does God have feet? We didn't know either. Isaac also talked a lot about being in heaven before he was born. Lots about that, just to make me tense up. When he was 7, he asked me if I thought demons were real, and I said, yes, but they can't hurt you because you know God. To which he said, but I don't know God. I don't even know if his name really is God. His name might actually be Harold or Bob. So that was like, I said, that's a question. Of course, we were woefully ill-equipped to address these statements and questions. Another glimpse into Isaac's life would show you how devoted he was, not only to his friends, but anybody that was in need. At the age of 5, he became involved in helping homeless children by fundraising to buy Christmas gifts for these kids. It became real to Isaac when he recognized that one of his own classmates was one of those children. He said he would do it all, fundraising every year for the rest of his life, even if it only helped Dylan, his friend. Isaac continued with this program and later organized a benefit rap concert for pregnant homeless teenage girls. Then there's the Disneyland story. Isaac and a friend wanted to go to Disneyland when they were 8 years old, and they were told that if they wanted to go, they had to raise the money themselves. I think I actually said get a job, but I don't quote me on that. And we didn't think they'd do it. So at 8 years old, they became entrepreneurs, raising $1,400 in 4 months through recycling, stacking firewood, and doing odd jobs to finance their trip. They got an award from Disneyland as well as the Economic Development Council in Eureka for their labors. And not only did they get to go to Disneyland, but they had enough money to go to Universal Studios too.
Wow, that's cool.
Another look would find Isaac at 9, home alone with me. I had recently had surgery and passed out in the living room. Isaac ran and knocked on the doors of all 8 of our neighbors looking for help. When he couldn't find any help, he came back and dialed 911. Isaac had just been through a training simulation at school to learn about 911 protocol. As a result, he kept his cool the whole time, gave dispatchers directions to our house and the details on my surgery and where my location of my medications to the paramedics when they arrived. Isaac did such a good job that he received a Heroes Award from the Red Cross and the state of California. I also want to, you guys are probably tired of all the Jewish stuff. I also explain a little bit. When a boy or girl is bar mitzvah, they have to do something called tikkun olam. Tikkun olam means to heal the world in some way. You could build a park bench, but I don't know if you recall this, luck would have it, but our temple, when Hitler was invading the Jewish towns and ridding them of the Jews, he also took our Torah scrolls. They're very large. You can't just go buy a Torah book. They're all handwritten. They're all handcrafted. They're all written on scrolls, which is on calfskin, and they're sewn together with deer sinew. The panels of the skin are sewn together with deer sinew. It's a long process. process. And the ink is made from oak galls, which are on oak trees, and it's a very long evolved process, and it's still scribed with a quill. And our temple, as well as some of the other temples in the United States, received one of the Torahs that was taken in a pilgrim, and it was placed in an old yucky old basement where it got some water damage because Hitler had planned to make a museum of, the Jewish people after he killed us all, but foiled his plan. So anyway, there are only about 300 scribes in the whole world. Sophers, somebody who can actually scribe the Torah, make the ink, sew the Torah together. It's a very tough thing. Every time they write the word of God in the Torah, which is a that our temple hadn't been badly damaged, and of course no sophers in sight, but God brought us a sopher to our temple to live in our very small community. So Isaac was actually able to help him repair this Torah. He got the deer sinew because he hunts. He helped him sew the panels together that were damaged. That making the ink was a 3-day process, which involved my last coffee grinder in the kitchen and lots of things. And he shot the turkey. Was it a turkey? The turkey for the clothes that the guy continued to use to not only finish that Torah, but to continue on and make another Torah for our temple. Each Torah takes between a year and 2 years to write. So, very involved process, and probably one of the things that I'm proudest of for Isaac, because he didn't just go build a park bench or feed the homeless for the night. This took him months and months of hard work. So, the last glimpse I give you will be of Isaac Rosser, the man, the myth, the legend. This is the obituary. Isaac considered his ability to eat extremely spicy food as a defining characteristic of his manhood. He hated bland food and hypocrites, not necessarily in that order. His happiest moments were spent outdoor hunting or fishing with family, friends, and his dog. Isaac was a tournament archer at a young age and continued to develop his marksmanship with rifle and shotgun. Isaac took his fashion cues from a redneck handbook. His everyday wear being rainbows, America t-shirts, this is his, and cowboy boots, even in the dead of summer. Isaac was a philosophical young man. He was an amazing poet. Some of it's out there, here to see it. Reciting his work at coffee houses in California. He was definitely a paradox, or a contrast in terms at best. Somewhere in him, if you were lucky to know how multifaceted he was, existed a genuine merging of the country, redneck, and southern lifestyles inspired by shows like Trailer Park Boys and Cambo, along with deeply spiritual thoughts about the universe and human behavior. If you were really lucky, you knew how funny Isaac was with his quick-witted comments and ability to see the humor in just about anything. If Isaac called you friend, you were the most fortunate of all.
Back, but I didn't, just to save him from community, even though it's only us. And all these different things. I think now that I know that it can happen so suddenly, I'm not going to just hold back if I find another person like that, which I won't. That I'm just going to tell them the jokes, give them crap like he gave me all the time, and just try to live it to the fullest like he would have wanted. He was always carefree. Let's do this. No, that's probably a bad idea. We'll do it anyways. That was a conversation that we had a lot. And just different things like that. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at anyone. I can't.
It's okay.
So, there was all this time that we could have been doing something. We didn't. Probably something we needed to do. Like, get my chores done, get his chores done, clean something. And we just blew it off. And it's still there, at least on my part. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
All right.
I can't.
All right.
From Roosevelt. And I went over there, I was like, Isaac, what's going on, man? Where'd that come from? He's like, had it all along. And he was so strong in the weight room. I mean, he was outlifting me at first. I was a little scared. But, during our game against Glen Rock this year, was, I think, his best year as a player for us. That game, me, Dave, and Gabe were needing breaks because we were getting double teamed every play, and Isaac stepped in for us, and he did his job very well for us. That center and guard didn't know what to do with him. I mean, again, he was so strong that it was just natural for him to be good in that nose tackle spot. And I say it's not for me, but the football team, but we were very blessed to be able to share that bond that football players create with each other. And Isaac knew how to be a good friend and also a good football player. So, thank you.
Well, we had pulled up to a hill and it kind of looked wet, so I looked over at Isaac and said, "Hey, you think we can make it?" He looked down and said, "Yeah, I think we could." So of course I went down and kept looking for some grouse. Well, we came up with nothing. So we started to head back. Well, when we came up to the wet hill, we couldn't make it back up. So I told Isaac that maybe there was some shelter or another loop around to the highway down the road. It was getting a little dark. So we drove down the road and came across the cabin. Well, we had to break into the cabin without a padlock. Then I started to see what the cabin had for heat, food, and water. Well, we found only Coleman lanterns that worked. So Isaac set the lantern on the stove and started to refill it. Well, it spilled a little on the stove. Next thing I know, Isaac's lantern was on fire, and the fuel can was on fire too. So we threw the can outside, and the whole floor was on fire. So I grabbed a big jug of water and started to put out the fire. I put most of it out, but the smoke was so intense that Isaac and I both ran out. We couldn't find Dixie's, and Isaac said that she was still inside. So I soaked my shirt in water and ran in there after the dog. Well, I got her, but the fire was out, but she didn't want to go through the front because that's where the fire was. So I picked her up and carried her outside. We stood out there letting our hearts slow down and stop beating out of our chests. Then we walked in to see the damage, and I can hear it crackling in the bright light behind the door. Well, broom caught fire during the Hillsborough game. And so I threw it outside and stomped out the fire. There's still a lot of smoke in the cabin, so we waited about half hour so the smoke cleared out. On the morning that we were found, I was making shake and bake pancakes, and we heard a razor coming up the road, and Isaac and I ran to them. And it was search and rescue, so they took us back to our parents, and we told them everything that happened. Isaac said he was going to eat me before Dixie. The search and rescue guys looked at me and said, "Man, you need new friends." This was an adventure that I wouldn't do with anyone else in my life. Isaac, buddy, you were gone, but you'll never be forgotten. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Lek. I am from Thailand. Isaac came to Thailand last year. I have been friends with Vicky since she lived in Thailand almost 30 years ago. But I had never met Isaac. Isaac's son became part of my family, and we all came to love him. After he returned home, Isaac learned that someone stole something from my store that my brother owned, and my niece was managing. Isaac was so angry that someone would steal from my niece that he was to return to Thailand to be in the store with her to protect her. We love Isaac and were blessed by his love and loyalty to our family. Thank you.
By Stephanie. Stephanie is Cody's mom. The day that Cody became friends with Isaac was the day I knew they would be friends for life. Isaac was one of those friends that you knew would be there through thick and thin. I looked at Isaac as a son and often referred to him as my other son. Vicky and Lee also took my son, Cody, in as their own. The boys were always seeing what they could get away with without getting into too much trouble, but the end result always, at least, yielded a funny story. Isaac was there for his friends anytime, day or night, if they needed him. I was lucky to have had Isaac in my life for the amount of time that I did. There was never a dull moment when Cody, Isaac, and Francisco were together. Isaac had a brotherly, sisterly relationship with my younger kids too. Isaac had a passion to cook. It never failed. Every time he would try to cook at my house, my daughter would have to go in and antagonize him to tell him he was doing it all wrong. He responded by antagonizing her back, but I knew it was just the way they loved each other. They also enjoyed stealing food off of each other's plates. Isaac was a person that you were lucky to call friend, and he was there for his friends no matter what. When Cody was diagnosed with cancer, Isaac was right there by his side. Even though he lived over 1,000 miles away, he made sure he was by Cody's side the night before Cody's surgery. Then the morning of the surgery, Isaac made sure to keep Cody's spirits up with boy-related humor. Isaac even wore Cody's sweats so they would be warm for Cody after he got out of surgery. After the surgery, Isaac came to my house and barbecued and made dinner for my family. Isaac's main thought was to make sure that Cody's spirits stayed high. When Cody has to go down for scans to make sure the cancer is still gone, Isaac always calls and sends him jokes. Isaac's love was endless, and we were blessed to have his love.
I'm not sure where my daughter is, Miranda, but I don't know if I'll want to come up here. My name's Kristen, and I've been friends with Lee and Vicky for over 20 years. I've known Isaac since he was born because my girls, my twins, were about 8 weeks younger than he was, and so the kids have known each other since they were born. They've never known life without each other. And I think you can get the running theme about Isaac is his loyalty and friendship to others. And I just want to say that that's because of his parents. And the love and the joy that they had for Isaac shone through him. So I want to read. Olivia can't be here. I can read it. Olivia can't be here because we're from California and we just couldn't get her out, we could only get Miranda. So Olivia wanted to say, Isaac was a person of many smiles, laughs, and unforgettable memories. I noticed how he lit up every room he was in with his unique sense of humor and his amazing personality. He was my first friend that I met shortly after birth. My sister and I, we were his sisters. All three of us are a family and always will be. From airsoft wars to shooting guns and bows and arrows, from wandering through the woods by his house to wrestling on the front lawn, from hanging out in the garage to lighting off his homemade fireworks. Life with him was always full of color. I remember so vividly my time visiting him in Wyoming. He took Miranda and I out to shoot rabbits. We went to the Cody Rodeo, we went quad riding, and we hung out with him in his room and just talked nonsense. He even made us famous quesadillas, and I remember him dancing in his underwear while Miranda was on the phone. That trip in Wyoming was one I'll never forget, and I will always hold on to. Isaac's brotherly presence throughout my childhood will always be a part of who I am. Thank you, Isaac Lee Rosser, for being my first friend and for being a part of my family for 17 years. I will never forget who you were to us, and I will keep you forever
you weren't just my best friend, you were my brother. I am so thankful to have spent 17 whole years with you from the time we were born until now. I love you so much and will cherish the memories you gave me. You were and will always be my hero. Thank you for protecting me from all the people who talked shit to me when I was too scared to do it because I hate confrontation. And he just loved it. Thank you for hugging me so tight. All my broken pieces went back together because nobody else could do it the way you did. I'm going to miss you, Isaac. You are an amazing person who impacted the lives of many, and I am so proud of you for everything you've accomplished. We will be together again one day, brother. I love you so much. Thank you for being my Superman. First, I'm going to read from Isaac's friend Dakota, and this is what he called my favorite memories of Isaac. When we were at Isaac's house and he wouldn't let me swing myself and insisted on pushing me. When we all went to Boy Scout camp to stay the night for Isaac's birthday, and he sat up right next to me and kept me warm when I got too cold. When we went to the beach and had a fire and we were fishing and hunting and we got s'mores all over us. When Lee took Isaac and I to a Harry Potter movie and I thought it was scary, and he let me hold his hand and bury my head in his shoulder. I now love Harry Potter. When we came over and celebrated one night of Hanukkah with you all. I have so many more, but those are some of my favorites. Thank you for letting your son be part of my life. And this is from me. I have known Isaac since he was a baby. The first thing I noticed about him was his very impressive verbal abilities. He was talking from quite a young age, words when he was just a babe in arms. Then as a young teen, he was able to thoughtfully and articulately explain his position on issues, even to people who didn't necessarily agree with his position on issues. His thinking and verbal abilities were a real gift of Isaac's. I have never known Isaac to not be polite. I saw him when he was having some really tough times, and he still would say, always hello, and always give a hug. I think this really speaks to his fundamental core of goodness and kindness, and his spirit. One time he was about 7 or 8, and he was riding in the back of my car, talking to my son, and he was telling my son about a Pokemon contest that was going to be at his school. And my son said, well, hey, that sounds fun. Can I do it? And Isaac was very adamant. He said, dude, you don't even want to do that. There is no beginner's luck in Pokemon. You are not ready for this. So my son got, big eyes. He said, Isaac, are you going to do the Pokemon contest? And Isaac said, yeah, I think I will. I just need to get some Pokemon cards and find someone to teach me how to play. This spirit of I can do it, even though I've never done it before and I don't really know what it is, but I can do it, is something that Isaac has had since he was little. Strumming his guitar with his uncles, he was playing that music. Later on, he brought this spirit with him as he pursued other passions beyond Pokemon, music and football. To be able to see this, learn from this, and hopefully live with more of this in my life, this I can do it spirit, is a lesson and a gift from Isaac that will carry on.
Isaac and me were driving down the dirt road one day, going too fast with the windows down, music blaring. It was country, of course. And he stomps on the brake and we just start sliding. What the heck? Start freaking out. And he stops and puts it in park and he opens the door and he walks out. So I follow him. I open the door and I follow him. And by the side of the road there were these beautiful cobalt flowers standing there. And he gets on his knees and he just looks at them. He goes, aren't these beautiful? Yeah, man. Why don't you pick them? Bring them to your girlfriend or something. He never looked away from the flowers and he goes, no, I'll let them be wild. Oh yeah? He goes, yeah. I never saw a wild thing feel sorry for itself.
That's pretty cool.
And I think that's He wants us all to be wild. So we never feel sorry for ourselves.
I'm Isaac's uncle, and he was my only flesh and blood nephew that I had. And just from the word get-go, when I first met this little guy, he gravitated towards me. We just sort of had a relationship where he would confide in me anything, because I could understand a lot of the problems we both had growing up were very similar. Just the many things that we struggled with were so similar that, you know, oftentimes in family gatherings, we just go in the back room and talk, you know, just sort of have our own time. But what I loved about Isaac is his ability to make weapons out of anything. And I challenged him, I go, could you make a bazooka out of a potato gun? He got very thoughtful, let's think about that one. So, about 5 minutes later, he has this very well drawn out diagram, very technical, I couldn't even follow it, you know. Because we were talking about what would happen if an EMP attack occurred and the society broke down, we have to make weapons. I always wanted him in my corner, it never happened. If we were never Mad Max, I know we'd always eat while around Isaac. It'd be like a one-man Rambo. So he makes this diagram and everything, and later on, after he left her house, he left my wife a note that said, "Dear Aunt Charlene, please make sure that Uncle Steve does not try to make this weapon. I'm afraid he'll hurt himself." That was the better reason. Oh, what a pity.
My son Garrett is ready to finish this for me if I can't get all the way through. Every year, Isaac and his parents would visit all of us in Grayville for Thanksgiving. We would get a snapshot of each year of his life, from toddler to boy to young man. A brief glimpse of who he was and who he would become. As a little guy, he loved feeding our donkey, whom he called Eeyore, along with every other donkey that he came across. And they worked pretty hard to try to keep an ample supply of carrots on hand. One time, we let him sit on his back for a photo opportunity. And I'm glad I kept my arm around him because a loud noise made her jump. And Isaac just laughed as I lifted him off her back, and which probably made the whole experience even that much funner for him. And he was always interested in hunting, even before he was old enough to go. I remember how he packed his orange toy gun in his dad's gun case for the flight home. Because, you know, that's where guns go. Safety matters when it comes to guns. He followed that one. And when he was around 10, he amazed my husband Dave and me with his extensive knowledge of the Native Americans in the area and of the history of the area of Wyoming. And he had been studying primitive survival techniques, building fires and making handmade weapons, Steve talked about. And he had tied it all in with the school report, and he really wasn't that old. And he was interested in the subject. He loved to learn about it. And he was an avid reader, but he also, not just from books, he learned the skills of what was involved with doing it. He didn't just read it, he did it. When Isaac started school here at Grayville, and he knew I was a substitute teacher, and he knew that there was always the risk of running into me in the halls. And he thought of it as a risk. Because as a roster, how could I possibly miss such an opportunity to embarrass him? And I remember the look on his face the first time he saw me in the hall. He was walking towards me with Morgan, who smiled and waved at me. And he was just stone-faced,
and trying to shrink out of my line of sight, keeping his eyes forward like I couldn't notice it. And then the look of astonishment on his face as I walked by, giving him only the briefest smile and a slight nod. And the next day after school, I told him not to worry. I wasn't going to embarrass him, or even make him talk to me at school if he wasn't in my class, that it was his space. And when I told him that, the look of relief on his face, and that big smile on his, and just like, thanks. And he admitted he was pretty scared of what I was going to do. But after that, when he would be the first one to nod and greet me and say hi, but it was always one of the things, because he was just way too cool to talk to his cousin. But I have some regrets, and I regret not being able to spend more time with Isaac as a kid, because 1 week a year just wasn't long enough. In this past year, I missed too many opportunities not to get to know the many faceted sides of this young man that he had become. And then maybe I would have learned before this week that his favorite author was also one of mine when I was his age. And reading his poetry has given me insights into Isaac that I wish I had when he was still with us. I have learned from him something that I should have already known. Don't waste your life on endless responsibilities. Take the time to enjoy life. The dishes, the laundry, the chores, you wait. Go and make memories with the people you love, because time goes by. You can't remember it.
I got to meet Isaac when he was 12, and he was a pretty amazing kid to meet. So I didn't really know how to wing it, so I ended up writing a letter to him instead. Dear Isaac, to all of us, you will always be a cousin, a boyfriend, a nephew, a very, very loved son, but most importantly, you are you. Even though your physical presence is no longer here, you, Isaac Ross, will always be Isaac Ross. It has been many people's pleasure to get to know you and be part of your life. And it has been an honor for people who were lucky enough to say they had you as part of theirs. I know firsthand it has been a precious gift to get to know you personally in the moments we have spent in each other's company over the last few years. You trusted me and opened up to me about many of your thoughts and struggles. We had a few conversations that you said you were really grateful for. It was brought to my attention that you liked being able to have someone you could confide in on occasion. I would like to say thank you, and little did you know, you helped me a lot too. Being able to share past experiences with people and just about life. And it was hard to relate to, but you made it easy. No one will ever get the chance to have face-to-face conversation or embrace you or be embraced by you ever again. No one will ever get to see the man you should have become, even though he would have been pretty great. However, your light will always shine, your flame will never truly go out. You will always be here with each and every individual you have ever touched. Because of your amazing memory, you will live on forever inside us all. You, Isaac Rosser, will never be forgotten, and we all know that you know you were never alone, even when things were really dark. You have been surrounded by love that many have never experienced. And because of who you are, you were kind, you were smart, and you were very unique. You knew how to be a friend, and you knew how to bring joy in the light of a room, even when you were being moody. People were drawn to you into your devotion and your spirit. There is a hole left in each one of your friends and family members that will never be able to be filled by anyone else. Instead, the hole will be filled with fond and beautiful memories of who he never says we get to keep. For those who did get to know you, we are all very lucky, because we got to keep you forever in our minds, and we will celebrate you any chance we get. There will be times we gather together, and you will be brought up in conversation. Even though it will be hard and sad, we will all eventually be happy and talk about one of the most amazing and fun young men we know. We will talk about your crazy antics and humor. People will share stories from every age in your life, and we may cry, but we will also smile and one day be okay. No words are enough, no words will bring you back. No words can take away the pain that we are all feeling. Yet words are what will help us all heal over time in our own way. Thank you for sharing your life with us, and you are greatly missed. You will always be loved, and your soul will always stay perfect. We love you.
It never makes sense when someone so young is taken from this world. We can't understand how something like this could happen. If we could, we would all go back and change something we did or said to Isaac to try and prevent such a tragedy from happening. The heart-wrenching truth is, we can't. What we can do is learn from this horrible accident and in the future take the precautions that he didn't. We can also think of Isaac and who he was to keep him with us in our hearts and minds. Isaac was my little cousin, someone I saw grow up and try to tackle all that life gave him. He always tried to face challenges head on, and with a determination that was amazing to see in someone so young. Sometimes he tried to do things beyond his ability, not because he was arrogant, but because he was always pushing himself. He would come out to Wyoming almost every year for Thanksgiving. And all that time, he always tried to wrestle me. For over a decade, I was always bigger than him, but he would never give up. This last year, however, I was suddenly the smaller of the two. And as expected, he once again challenged me. I did all I could to keep him at bay, and the match ended with him unable to do anything, but me giving up because he wouldn't stop struggling. I know that given another year, he would beat me. And I regret that he never got to. That's who Isaac was. Someone who would never give up. Someone who picked his own goals and went for them. Yes, at times, they weren't the goals that we would like him to have. But nevertheless, he didn't give up. Wyoming, I believe, was more of an idea to Isaac than a place. It was the idea of the outdoors and the country that always got him excited every year to come out here. And even though he was leaving a lot of things and people he loved when he moved, he still loved the idea. Hunting, fishing, and just being out in the country was what really drove him. We all remember when he got stranded on the mountain. And even though it was hard and scary, he said it was also fun. Being out in the woods, stranded on the mountain, was probably something that he had thought of many times. He was able to put all his knowledge to the test. And that's just who Isaac was, an outdoorsman to the core. Someone who loved to be outside rather than looking at a screen. And that made him truly special in this day and age. The memory of Isaac will stick with all of us. He was just becoming a man, and we could all see what a kind-hearted man he would become. He was working through some tough times, but we all knew that he would never give up. That's just who he was. We will all grieve in our own ways, but let's not dwell on what we could have done. Instead, let's all take something from Isaac and try and keep his memory alive by following some of his examples. Be it never giving up, taking more time to enjoy nature, or loving and enjoying our family. We can all learn from who this amazing young man was. Isaac may be gone physically, but he shall forever live on within all of our hearts and minds.